You become more authentic. You're not hiding anymore.
It's all about being empowered. It empowers you. Like once you know that deeper level and you become aware of all of those layers that are making you who you are today, then you can rewire it and be like, no, I want to choose my own life.
If we unwittingly are believing all of these lies we made up about ourselves, about others, and about life, we can't truly put our faith in God.
No, I'm allowed to be authentically all of me. And actually, when I do that, it helps other people to show up as all of them. It allows them to fully have permission to be themselves.
What are you committed to in life based upon results?
Well, and our words have so much power. So like, be careful what you are speaking into existence. That's one of the easiest things we have control over is the words that we are saying. And you can be like, wait, it's not what I want. Let me change that into something I actually would prefer to be true.
Because you still have that power, right? I mean, that power that you had to create it all in the first place, that's what divinely has been given to us with free will to be able to, create our life. When people compliment us or, say like, let it in.
Like, are you open or are you resistant? Are you open or closed? Like, are you open to letting like love and light in, or are you not?
And we forget about how wonderful we really are.
Get ready to love everything I am. All I want to be and understand. 'Cause I won't dim my light for no one.
Welcome to Popular, the show that will finally help you be seen and heard, because it's time that you made an impact with your voice. Your voice matters. It's time for you to be seen and heard and for you to make the difference in the world that you've always wanted to. I'm Carolee Garrison, and I'm here to interview experts on publicity, mindset, leadership, and more so that we can all discover how we can become our most magnetic selves. At its core, Popular is about knowing your worth, owning your unique superpowers, and using your gifts to make a difference in this world. What it comes down to is that if you are looking outside of yourself to feel important, it will never be enough. This is a journey of discovering your magnetic confidence from the inside out. Welcome to Popular. Hey guys, it's 2025 and I am so excited to welcome you back to a whole new year, a brand new time and season and everything of the Popular podcast. I have an announcement to make, and that is that I'm going to try changing up some of the structure of this show. And it's going to start with some shorter episodes, but a little bit more frequently. So we're going to start today with this, I think it's going to be 25, 30 minutes-ish, probably closer to 25 once we get it all together. I'm recording this right now, so I can't tell you exactly how long it is, but we're going to have shorter episodes, but I'm going to release one today, Monday. Amazing. I know I don't usually release episodes on Monday, but that's going to be new. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and it's going to be amazing. So I think I'm going to have interviews Mondays and Wednesdays, and then mini solo episodes on Fridays. And I'm really excited to see how this goes. If I love it, I'll keep it. If I hate it, I'll change it again, because that is the beauty of being in charge of my own show and my own life, is I get to see if I love it or hate it. So anyways, today's guest is just gonna blow your mind. She's absolutely incredible. Her name is Kathi Sohn, and she retired from her first career of 36 years in 2020 with the U.S. Defense Department. She was widowed in 2019 and decided to devote her life to sharing the powerful work of her beloved husband, which is called the Body Memory Process for discovering and releasing childhood trauma and beliefs. She wrote a best-selling book on the work. It's called You Made It Up, Now Stop Believing It, which was released last year. And oh my goodness, it's absolutely phenomenal. You've got to get your hands on it. It will change your entire life. She's now a speaker and a coach who's dedicated to mitigating the cycle of intergenerational trauma. And I actually have a special treat for you. You can go to her website, kathysohn.com, and I'm going to put all this in the show notes, but you can get a free chapter of her book. She also has freebies that you can download, and I am actually going to read you a little snippet, just a couple paragraphs from her book, because it's so good. I was immediately sucked in. This work is beyond powerful. And in my own personal life, I've made so many just mind-boggling discoveries about my own childhood journey and, ways in which I had made vows in my childhood. You'll understand if you go read the chapter and you listen to this episode, you'll understand. So I'm going to read from her chapter real quick because it's a great way to preface this interview, and it's just so freaking powerful. She says, children don't just gradually learn about the world as they progress through the K through 12 program, finally ready for adulthood at age 17 or 18. By the time they're in second grade, they have already largely determined how they are, how others are, and how life is. Examples are, I am a disappointment. They never tell me the truth, and life is hard. Children create their core beliefs and childhood vows through interactions with mainly parents or other primary caregivers. They are also influenced during their early years by siblings, other relatives they may see frequently, babysitters, teachers, and daycare providers. Kids will learn facts about the world and the opinions of others as they progress through school, but by the time they're 7 years old, they have assembled their childhood vows into a survival kit for life. The child is subconsciously motivated to form vows to survive in the world, but childhood vows are far from true survival mechanisms and can even be life-threatening to the adult. It's incredible. You have to go check out her book, and this interview is going to blow your mind. I'm so excited for you to hear it. So welcome, Kathy. Kathy, I'm so excited to talk to you and to learn from you. I'm really, really excited about the title of your book. So I think we can start there. The title of your book is You Made It Up, Now Stop Believing It. That title speaks to my soul. I would love to hear from you about where that came from and what led you to do this work.
Absolutely. So I want to begin by giving all the credit to my late husband, David Sohn. I lost David in 2019, and he and I had been blessed to be together in a marriage for 25 years before I lost him. So it was really during all that time that I became so proficient, with his work, because first I helped him to write his book, which we called Escaping the Labyrinth. And then when I realized after I lost him and I got settled in the new area and I looked up, what am I going to do? Because I retired from my job with the federal government after 36 years. And I realized, and again, this took a little bit of time, that I was stepping into from being behind the scenes supporting him to stepping and being the face of the work. And I realized that I really needed to write my own book on the work. I had also learned in the meanwhile that the name of the book was you had to kind of guess what it was about. And I learned through, learning more about marketing that it's good to be just kind of more obvious about what
it really is.
So people know. So I don't know how it came to me exactly when. It's just at some point, it just came to me through inspiration that it would be a sort of a in your face, like grab people's attention that says, oh, what did I make up that I need to stop believing? But I am so devoted to this work and to getting this message out. It truly is a mission for me now. So
I love it. So the question that I really ask here is, how does changing that inner story, the one that you've built from, decades and decades of being told things and interpreting the world around you, right, in our own certain ways, How does changing that story change the way that you show up in life? How does it change like the way you glow, the way that you can shine, the way that you have confidence or not?
Yes. Oh my goodness, so much to unpack. But what comes to mind is really um, kind of like overall, because there's certainly different ways that people change in their relationships, their attitude about their finances, their health, the way that they communicate. And we could talk for hours about each of those. But I think that one of the things that's most important that benefits everyone is that you become more authentic. You know, you're not hiding anymore. When I was thinking about your podcast and what you want to bring out in people who are kind of not really sure, they think they have a story, but they want to share with the world, is that so many of us hide. I hid behind a job where I had a security clearance, and I literally couldn't talk about my work, right? I just spent my whole life hiding it. It wasn't until I did this work, the body memory process, which the book is about, that I was able to discover why I was so fearful of really being out in the light, being able to talk in groups, being able to talk in front of a group, which really caused issues for me when I was a manager. As I was progressing in my job, I mean, it was through sheer determination that I got through it, and I hid a lot of the turmoil from people, and they were like, "No, you seem fine," and I was like, inside it was tearing me up, and I realized that for my own health, I needed to understand, you know, like what was going on, and it was really all around my very difficult birth. I ended up being adopted. I was an orphan at birth, and it's really a lot of people experience hiding in their own way, sometimes behind weight. I mean, just different ways that people hide, because these promises, these vows that we create can happen as early as in the womb, and even early on in the womb. And I know for sure, because I know that my birth mom was very distraught about being pregnant with me, that she probably tried to hide me. And so many, if you think about it, so many people try to hide their pregnancy anyway, even if there's really nothing, they're not concerned about, they're not, you know, they're married and everything's fine, but they still are not going to tell everybody until things are
There's
really
a lot,
right?
of just, you know, cultural stuff that happens around pregnancy.
Yes.
Like your body changes, you gain weight, and you're, you know, as females, like our shape changes. It changes everything about the way that we think about our bodies and ourself and our worth. And it really brings up a lot of those stories that we told ourselves our whole lives about what our value is.
Right. And that gets passed along. There's a lot of science. And in my book, I talk about the science behind this. But there were researchers out of the 70s and 80s. You know, if you think about it, the 80s was a great period of time for a lot of different reasons. But there was really some earth-shattering research that came out. And when things like this become discovered, a lot of times, you know, they don't become productized, right? I mean, you have pharmacological research that becomes a drug, right? Bench to bedside, they talk about it. There's technological research that we end up getting in something new on our phone. But when people make these breakthroughs and they discover that, oh, babies are actually more conscious than we realized in the womb, it doesn't really reach the public. You know, I mean, you might, if you're a student, you're a researcher and you kind of look for it, you can find this stuff. There was a researcher called Dr. Candace Pert back in the 70s who discovered that trauma can be lodged in our cell memory, because during a highly emotional event, these neurotransmitters travel to the body, like the brain. Like, she proved the mind-body connection back in like the 70s, because she realized that there are receptors everywhere. There's like a lock and key. And if you fold in, which my husband did, the Far Eastern work about chakras and energy
Yeah.
systems, like that emotional content lands is sort of in accordance to the energy centers of our bodies. So if it has something to do with communication, we're going to end up carrying around issues around our the stiffness in our neck and our shoulders. And he created over those 30 years that he worked with clients, he created a body map, which I also explain in the book. The book gives you absolutely everything of the work. It's the science behind it. It's how we make it up, right? And then there's how to stop believing it, which is the other process. So there's the discovery process.
Amazing.
What are your vows? What are your promises that you made to yourself? And then there's how to let that go. And to get back to your initial question, it's because once you're able to do that, then the third part of the book talks about living consciously. Then you can make your choices in the moment where things aren't running you from this incredibly powerful subconscious part of you that you most of the time aren't even aware of. And I got one more layer to put on here.
Well, it's all about being empowered. It empowers you. Like once you know that deeper level and you become aware of all of those layers that are making you who you are today, then you can rewire it and be like, no, I want to choose my own life.
Yes, not have the little kid and it served that little kid. And we if we had tons more time, we could talk about why the child makes these things up. But yes, and then there's another layer, which is for people of faith. A lot of times, especially in Christianity, we learn about how important it is, how our faith, right? What you believe, right? And so if we unwittingly are believing all of these lies we made up about ourselves, about others, and about life, we can't truly put our faith in God. I mean, we're not truly being able to trust God, and we in essence have our own kind of golden calf that we're worshiping that's in our subconscious, and we're not even aware it's there. And we might be trying really hard to trust, but it keeps pulling us back. We take one step forward, two steps back because of all that's hidden beneath the surface. So that's the importance of doing that kind of work.
Yes, this is incredible. And what I really love looking at is how much this deep work, it actually shows up in the way we live our lives today. Like, it's interesting to think about like the way that you show up in your job, the way that you create in your life. Like I'm a singer-songwriter, and I wrote this song, and it's called Use Your Voice. And one of the lines in the chorus is, you don't need permission to use your voice. And that really stemmed from this realization of this deep held belief that, oh my gosh, I'm not allowed to speak. I need to be quiet. Be quiet, be quiet, yes. Tone it down. You're too much. And it was going back and realizing I've felt that, whether it was expressly stated or not, I have felt like I was too much to handle for so long. And digging that up and going, oh, no, I'm allowed to be authentically all of me. And actually, when I do that, it helps other people to show up as all of them. It allows them to have permission to be themselves.
Absolutely right. Yes. It's really so powerful. And you're also able to examine what are you committed to in life based upon results. Right. So that's another piece of sort of peeling back the onion and doing this self-awareness, this discovery work on yourself. I'm doing it on myself. Like, what am I truly committed to? One of the things I've struggled with is external validation my whole life.
Yes,
I mean, and that's pretty common, right? It's pretty common. And we live in an era with social media where it's just piled on, like, that it's so enabling.
Well, and one thing I've learned is that, like, as a mother, like I've got my 3 kiddos, and what I learned from my mother, even if she never like specifically taught it, was like what I learned was that my value was in how much I could produce, what I could do. Keep going. It's never enough. Keep going. And as I've had things come up where I'm like, no, I must rest, like my body's not giving me a choice, I have so much resistance coming up. And I'm like, wait, and as I do this work, I'm able to go, wait a minute, where is that coming from? Why am I so resistant to giving my body what it actually needs? And instead, I'm trying to force through it because I can't seem to stop. I can't seem to make myself stop. Where is that coming from? Yeah. How do I work through that? And because with other people, I'm like, no, you have so much value. Please rest. But with my own self, I find that it's so much more difficult.
Yeah. And I struggle. So I have things that, I don't know, I love peanut M&Ms, and it's like, so, and I have kids. So,
yeah.
So it's not like I can just not have some of this stuff in the house, right? I love trail mix, and, it's just the stuff is there. And it's like so many times I find myself, it's like, what was I thinking in the moment? It's like almost I have this different part of myself, like in the morning, I'm like, I'm going to stick to this. And then in the evening, I'm like, oh, what the heck? Who cares? Tomorrow's another day. And I think that's a real common experience.
Yeah.
And if I've started goofing, like I kind of like goofed up my plan, then I might as well just continue to goof off my plan and start over. Right. So, but I don't give up. Like every day I'm like, it's a fresh day and it's a new day for me to dig deeper. And everybody just needs to take, whether you want to do this such intense, deep work as the body memory process, that would be really super to do. But even if everyone just took that little bit of time, 15 minutes, whatever, to get quiet. And, what am I doing that's bugging me? Because I do that with myself. I'm like, how am I bugging myself? Especially since I've lost my husband. I don't have that mirror anymore. Like, he was able to tell me what bugged him, right? Right. But I don't have that mirror anymore. So it's really especially important that I take that time to realize, like, what is it that's kind of holding me back, right? What are the fears that are coming up, right? As I seek to move forward, to bring my work into the world, what's coming up for me, and to just, take that time to ask, okay, why? Like you said, where's this coming from? A lot of times it's just, and again, there's a process in my book, but it's pretty much intuitive about going back as far as you can remember. In my book, I talk about both subjective and objective ways that you can kind of triangulate at that data, if you will, to kind of figure out what happened and, what we heard and what we internalized, that we believe, and the lies that we believe about ourselves. But I can't express enough the importance of just doing that work in whatever form appeals to you. And there's a lot of opportunities out there. I mean, you can look, and different approaches appeal to different people. Find something that appeals to you, as long as it's something that just stop the day-to-day grind without the self-reflection.
Yes. And you've got to break the pattern.
Assumptions. Yes. You got to break the pattern. And you can't do that unless you literally step out of it. Mm-hmm. And then you might get stuck, like my problems. Like I just like, there I am. I'm doing it again.
Yes.
But you cultivate that observer and catch yourself doing it. And that's part of the magic.
I love it. So for somebody who is at the very beginning of this, and none of us are really at the beginning with this, is a lifetime of work, right? Where would you suggest somebody begin if they're like, I really need to improve my self-worth? Where do you begin with building up self-worth?
Yeah. So I would, certainly take, it's not so much about self-worth, and I'll address that in a minute, but I mean, where do you begin as far as maybe to start digging in to working on yourself? Would be just to take a look at, like, a sort of a 360-degree look at your life.
Okay.
And take a look at, how's your health, right? How are your relationships, first of all, with yourself, right? And with your spouse, with your significant other, with your kids. I mean, all of your relationship, How's your money, right? Is it a trickle? Is it a flow?
What is it you don't like about your life?
Yeah, what is it you don't like? And then then you start examining, like, take a period of time where you can do a little experiment with yourself and see if you can catch, what are your thoughts about that particular thing. Like, don't try to take it all on. Like, I would capture all of it and set that aside, and then start working on the pieces that, like, prioritize
one thing at a time,
working on those pieces. What's your languaging around it? Like, you can catch yourself sometimes saying things that you're like, I'm sounding like my parents, because that happens, right, all the time. That old commercial about, we can't save you from becoming your parents. I mean, it's so it's so true.
Well, and our words have so much power. So, like, be careful what you are speaking into existence. That one of the easiest things we have control over is the words that we are saying. And you can be like, wait, it's not what I want. Let me change that into something I actually would prefer to be true.
Yes. And again, I'm Christian. I kind of like, what the way that I get back to my self-worth is, what does God say, right? Does Jesus say who I am? Because everything else is just, it's what we make up. It's truly what we make up about ourselves. If it's not in alignment, like, there's some good things, like, don't throw away the good things. Like, when you're looking at your life, and don't just look at the bad, and that kind of gets you to your self-worth.
Yeah. Well, and can I say, it's like, if you made it up, then you can change it.
Yes.
That's like the core maybe of this message from your book, is like, if you made it up, you can change it, and here's how. So come get the book and come do it.
Yes, because you still have that power, right? I mean, that power that you had to create it all in the first place, that's what divinely has been given to us with free will, to be able to create our life.
Yes.
So again, as far as getting back to our self-worth, it's like, who are we truly, not what we make up about ourselves. And then always think about your journey and how you have been able to remain, like, you have the strength, right? You've been able to get through adversity. We've all been through difficult times. That's part of the self-reflection. It's like, the good, the bad, and the ugly, like, consider it all. And just by looking at all of that and taking a more balanced look, because a lot of times, we do tend to focus on the bad, or we think we get kind of upset with ourselves, or some habit we want to kick, and we forget about how wonderful we really are, right? And look at the people in our lives, and when people compliment us, or say, like, let it in, like, let it in, don't just let it bounce off, because a lot of times people do that, and if you say something to somebody and someone just shrugs it off, right? You can tell when either they're like, oh, thank you, and letting it in, or if they're like, oh yeah, well, not really, and they're trying to tell you all the reasons why they're not really all that great.
Well, and it's like, are you open or are you resistant? Are you open or closed? Like, are you open to letting, like, love and light in, or are you not?
Exactly.
This has been so beautiful. Will you please tell us where we can find you and follow you and get your book?
Yes, absolutely. So if you go to my website, I'm going to spell my name, because that's my name is my website. So it's there's no www. It's just kathysohn.com, KathiSohn.com. And you can get a free chapter of my book there. You can learn more about the book. I've also been working on ways to help parents, since parents are so key, what's going on in that early life. And I have a free gift. If you're a parent of a teen, there's a free gift there that you can get, download a guide. There's my coaching programs are on there, and some other things, great resources, all in that one website.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I've loved this.
Thank you for joining us for another episode of Popular, your key to magnetic confidence. If you enjoyed today's show, please subscribe, leave a comment, and share it with a friend, someone who needs to know how much their voice matters. For more information on booking private sessions with me, as well as my available courses, check out caroleegarrison.com. Remember, when you know your true value, you glow from the inside out. Tune in next week for another reminder of just how amazing you really are.